What's up, everybody? What's up? Quick video. I saw the presser between Canelo and Crawford in New York today. All right, different kind of presser than the one that was yesterday or the other day out in Saudi Arabia. The one in New York was more like, felt like a UFC event because Dana White is promoting this fight and he was there. And also Max Kellerman was there too, asking questions. Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley, if you didn't know, are going to be doing a commentary for this fight. And those are the HBO guys, and I really miss them both, especially Max Kellerman. I really like Max Kellerman as a commentator. I know, people are going to always have their issues with commentators because I think at some point they're always going to be a little biased towards whoever they like, or whoever the network likes. And I noticed that more so now for the older commentators, because when I'm watching older fights from the back in the day, I noticed key things that I didn't notice when I was watching it as a child. And, even those guys over there at HBO, they had their biases as well. But I still think they were better than the newer commentators, in my opinion. All right. So Dana White is there. And Dana White, it feels like a UFC one a little bit. You have the crowd there. You have the people in the background making noise. They did it where all the questions came in today. I didn't think anyone asked any questions that we haven't heard already from their interviews that they've done in the past. The media asked, a lot of, questions about the moving as far as, Crawford, is he going to move? Legacy, like what is this stuff for your career and this, that, and the third. Few key things that I noticed. There's some kind of bonus for a knockout. There's a knockout bonus. I mean, I don't think that's going to really be a factor in the fight because I think both guys are just trying to really win more so than anything else. I think both guys are just trying to win the match. I don't think, of course they will both love knockouts, but I think these guys on this level, when you fight another fighter that's on the highest level like you, I think it's more important to win the fight and get away with the W. I mean, these guys got probably over 100 fights combined. Which is a lot for today's standards. So I think at the end of the day, I don't think that's really going to be a big factor there. What else I noticed? What else I noticed in this fight? So there was questions asked, and Crawford was asked about the movement. They asked him about the movement and how he felt about that, about moving and. He said something like, I like this response. He said, the only, running I'm going to do is I'm going to be running upsides Canelo's head because he has a really big head. So this presser felt more like they're trying to sell it more because there was some trash talking here, but they did a push off and stuff. And then you had answers like that. At the end of the day, I said this in the last video. Does Crawford feel pressured into giving a fight, an action fight now that everybody's talking about running, whether or not he's going to run, specifically him, and I thought it was kind of funny because Canelo says to Turkey, yo, why don't you give us a smaller ring? Smart, because Turkey has recently said that, and let's see if there's going to be a smaller ring for this fight. Because it's going to be I think at the end of the day, I think the ring size does count depending on what style you have. Not that I believe Crawford is a runner, or he will be, but I don't think he's going to be standing there training with Canelo. I mean, Canelo's always wanted that for his fights. At the end of the day, does Crawford feel pressured and to have to give a show and have to trade more because Turkey says so or fans say so? You can box and you can move without actually running. William Skull, that was running to me. Crawford doesn't fight that way, and I'm not expecting him to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, overall though, I thought the presser was okay. It was a little bit more entertaining this time around. Crawford was a lot more animated this time than before. They had a shoving match at the end. But, it's all to sell the fight. The way they talk up the fight now as opposed to when the fight wasn't signed, you know, because Crawford wasn't originally, he thought it was a little out of control, the potential of him fighting Canelo Alvarez. He didn't seem to have much interest at one point, and Canelo didn't have much interest until he agreed on the deal. So they're talking like it's a legacy fight, it's the biggest fight, talking a lot about Netflix, and as far as like it being the potential of it being like the biggest most viewed fight of all time, you know. So they've been doing a lot of talking about that as well. I mean, the way I look at it is Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, I think they have to do more promo for that, because with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, the reason why that fight did so well is because you're bridging two different age group of people, not just boxing fans, but we got to remember Jake Paul is an influencer first. Now he's a boxer. So you're getting all these YouTube, you got millions and millions of subscribers on YouTube. You're doing all these other kind of things. And then on top of that, now you got the boxers involved. And then you have Iron Mike, who's iconic, right? So all the older heads are going to watch it because it's Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a different type of fight. It's an exhibition. This is a real fight, a legacy fight. And even though Crawford and Canelo, as famous as they are, especially Canelo, even though they're mega famous, this is more a boxing enthusiast or even casual type of fight. Whereas the fight with Tyson and Paul, it's a different group of fans right there. You know what I mean? It's a way different group of fans. A lot of the Mike Tyson fans from back in the day that were older ain't really following what Canelo and Crawford is doing. Not only that, this is going to be on Netflix, so it's going to get a lot of eyes on it. I hope that they improve on the performance of the buffer, you know, because it slowed down on Tyson and Paul. Slowed down a lot for Taylor and Serrano as well. And that has nothing to do with our networks at home. That is Netflix having 90 million people, 100 million people watching that fight. I don't know if they're going to do 100 million, but, you know, I would hope that at least for the main event, we got to make sure that it's not skipping. You know, I know it's not pay-per-view, but that is a pretty important fight. And I'm going to say this last too. You know, I get a lot of the comments, like the couple of videos that I made about this fight. There's people complaining about the fight and everything, how it's a joke and stuff. Like, listen, I don't think this is the biggest fight that I want. And I said before that I would rather see Canelo fight David Benavidez. That's a fight that I wanted to see. Some people say they want to see Crawford against Ortiz or Jerron Boots Ennis or stuff like that. And that's cool. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But there's people that come to my comments that I don't see in any of my other videos that are dropping comments saying that, you know, we shouldn't make content on this fight. It's boxing at the end of the day. And this is two undisputed champions. This is not Jake Paul against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This is not even Manny Pacquiao against Mario Barrios. These are two active fighters that are the two of the best fighters in the world. If you have a problem with this video, don't click on it. That's what I do when I see content creators that I follow make content on stuff that I don't have any interest in. I just don't click on it. You know, that's what I do. Why click on a video just to say, why are you making videos on this? Why are you leaving comments on it? I don't know. Some funny people out there, but yo, I'm going to leave it at that. I really have nothing else to say. You know, the next time I'm be making content on this fight, I will probably be breaking the fight down, give you the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter, similar like I did in videos in the past. Anyway, we got some fights coming up this weekend. I think I'm going to do Floyd Schofield against Terrence Farmer. That's probably the next breakdown I do. Be on the lookout for that. And I'll see you guys soon on the next one. Peace.